Okay, I'm going to try to quickly run through every aspect of this circuit bent hing and keyboard and how it works. First off, there's two units. There's in the backboard, in the back box. It's a big wooden box that's set separate from the keyboard. There's two aspects of this. There's a keyboard section that has filters and Vactorals. There's Vactoral inside the keyboard. It's pitch bent, so the Vactorals affect that. And so therefore it has two different outputs. There's also a standalone synth that is a 6 oscillator Schmitt trigger synthesizer. So what we've got here is we've got two outputs. This output is for the 6 oscillators, and it has a volume, it has a tone and a volume, and an on and off for the 6 oscillators. And then of course with the 1/4-inch output, there's also plugs here to get into the positive to the line and the negative on the output, so that you could run a Vactoral in there or something, or create tremolo effects, or even patch it over to the other one, making just one output. But there's two outputs, so you'll need a mixer. And this over here is the keyboard output, and it has same thing. It has two patches for the that are hooked to the positive and negative of this. It has an off and on switch that just turns off and on this patch here. It has a tone that's a passive low pass filter with a volume knob. Okay, so this is for the keyboard. So we'll hook up the keyboard first and show how the keyboard sounds. So then we'll go through the whole thing. We'll do we'll patch out everything and demonstrate how the whole thing works. Okay, so we're just running into my little 4-track, nice and ungrounded sounding. Now, out of the back of the keyboard here, we have two wires. They're labeled positive and negative on the back. So we got left to right. We'll go positive. This runs the keyboard into the filters and into the synthesizer. Okay, there we go. Those two patched in. Now on the front of the keyboard, this is your sound out. This will be your audio. Turn the keyboard. And then out the front we have two more wires off the front of the keyboard. These are for the Vactoral inside of it, because the keyboard is pitch bent. With the dice knob here. Extreme pitch bent. Switch. So we run the wires off the front of the keyboard, and they're positive and negative too, left to right, positive, negative, right in here, and okay, let's patch it into it. Now, got positive and negative wires for that. The Vactoral works with two wires right in front of the keyboard. Okay, so we got the keyboard all plugged up. We got it plugged in, the positive and negative here on this Vactoral. And this over here is the filter, and the filter switches are down here. You've got just the regular filter. Let's see. Okay, and then you've got the filter, the modulator. And you've got the Vactorals. Vactoral switches here, and it's going to kick the clock resistor. You can speed it up. basically the keyboard section. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate the standalone synth. See, these turn off like this, and then you're just straight running the keyboard through, pitch bend. Okay, now the oscillators. The oscillators, this is the output for the oscillators. It has a volume control on it. It has a on-off. Now the oscillators are all at the these bottom plugs are actually, they're like, you could use these for CVs. They hook to, they turn off and on the potentiometers, the variable resistors here. So if you patch them on like this, they patch on instead of having switches, which, you know, leaves the option to run weird stuff into an experiment. But you can kick that on like that, so when they're patched, they'll come on. There'll be 6 of them. Now, they're individual panels for each oscillator. Each oscillator has a flashing light, it has a potentiometer, it has an output for the sequencer. And there's 6 individual oscillators with flashing lights. Now, at the top, there's a sequencer, and there are 6 variable resistor filters. Counting across the back here, starting here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Each one's a little panel, and they've got an in and an out on them. Now, you turn off and on, patch off and on all the little oscillators by putting a plug in them. Turns them all on so that they're all. So let's go ahead and patch all those on real quick here. Middle wire to the side, the ones that have 3, it's the middle wire to either side. Okay. Let's patch these on real quick. So we get all these patched, turn all these oscillators on to the potentiometers. Okay. In the middle with the 3, and then on either side. Okay, and there we go. Now those are all turned on. Now, let's turn the whole thing off for a second. Now, they'll also, we have like CV outputs or whatever for the sequencer. So you can run them, start with oscillator number 1, you can run it right up and plug it into the sequencer. Sequencer turns on here. You can plug it right into the sequencer, or, what is that hideous... Turn the keyboard off for a minute so we can hear it. Okay, now, but the way this is designed is you come off your oscillator plug down here. Each oscillator has a plug and a pot and a knob. You come off and you go into number 1 filter and go on the bottom, and then come out of the top of there into the sequencer. So then this variable resistor right here, this knob, will control this oscillator number 1. So you just count right on across, 1 and 1. And so then you can set it up all the way across this way. Then you could go to the next, plug into the next oscillator right beside the little blinky light, go in the bottom of the next knob, come out of the top, and just randomly plug in somewhere on the ping pong 24 patch sequencer. Boom. So now I got 2 oscillators hooked up. So I come in here on the top, hook this one up, next 3, and so then when you adjust, if you're thinking different oscillators, you can just work, you know that this is 1, that's 2, that's 3, so on to 6. So then you plug into this, the top of this one, and right on out. That's oscillator number 3, just stick it in there somewhere for experimentation. Okay, oscillator 4, the output to the bottom of the 4th variable resistor, and out of the top of the variable resistor plug in to the sequencer somewhere randomly. Okay, let's come out of the 5th oscillator up into the 5th variable. Move the camera a little bit. Up into the bottom of the panel of the 5th variable resistor, and then out and somewhere randomly onto the sequencer. Okay, the 6th oscillator output. So let's have this all patched up. Very simple. To the bottom of the 6th output, out of the top of the 6th output, and somewhere into the sequencer randomly for fun. Now, that should be fun. Let's turn it back on. Now, let's turn it down a little bit, the volume up. Turn that down, take the edge off that a bit so we can hear. Now these will produce, these top knobs then, will produce kind of like a filter sound. You can steer that. They can get, let's turn it back up. So it gives you lots of adjustment on the oscillators with lots of different sounds. And you've got a speed control on the sequencer. Then you can get, see, these act like, sound like filters. They'll actually do a lot of variation in your sounds. Some variable resistors can really produce some interesting sounds. And then now also you can change sounds around by unplugging some of them down here. Plugging them back in. This can change around your plug it back in and change the tone. And the LEDs down here on these oscillators are 3-color LEDs, so depending on the voltage going through them, they'll make some very interesting light. They can be purples, reds, greens, kinds of weird colors. A lot of fun, depending on how the voltage is running through them. And there's a slow speed on the, this is the speed adjustment. There's a speed switch right here. Fast, slow, then the speed adjustment knobs on the other side. It's very fun. Of course, you can play the